Hello everybody, welcome once again. We are going to go through the National Mineral Policy once again, and this is the part 2 of the lectures on the National Mineral Policy. As you can see that in the first part there were certain issues related to mining and mineral development was done. We will continue with that in this part 2, and we will also talk about the policy matters related to the foreign trade, foreign investment, what we have said, research and development. There are intergenerational equity, which is a very peculiar term which I will explain. Then about the different exchange or collaboration between the different ministries for sustainable development, and a short note on the expected outcomes of NMP. Let me give you one point here. I must touch that this is not an exhaustive document. This is not the entire national mineral policy here. Not only that, we are not talking everything about all the points that we have here. It is to give you the structure of the National Mineral Policy 2019 as adopted by the government and the country, and in which direction we are going. You will have an idea of the policies that the government has adopted, not all the things, because then it becomes too big. So it is not an exhaustive thing, but most of the important ideas have been covered in this lecture. As you can see that I have said in the earlier lecture that I will specially mention about the welfare of the project affected persons. So the mining projects must include a thorough assessment of the economic, cultural and environmental and social impact of the affected individuals. Whenever you are taking up a mining project, then you must carry out the futuristic assessment of the impact on all these things. So if you are doing that, then what do you propose? For appropriate relief and rehabilitation, that has to be a part of your project. What packages you are offering, and how you are improving their living standards, so that they can have a sustainable income source. Now, special attention must be given to the tribal and the weaker communities. There are certain act also in regard to the rehabilitation and the resettlement of the displaced people, that we must keep in mind when you are displacing some people, when you are taking up any mining project in remote areas, especially in forest. Now, the devolution of the mining benefits. We have important establishment called the District Mineral Foundation, which has been specifically established for the purpose of providing benefit to the individuals and areas which are affected by the mining operation specifically, and this is guided by the provisions of the Pradhan Mantri's Khanij Kshetra Kalyan Yojana, PMKKY as we call it, to promote inclusive and equitable development. I will give you just an idea how it works, that if a district is affected or the people of a district is affected, then we calculate a particular fraction of the royalty or percentage of royalty as a fund that has to be deposited to the District Mineral Foundation or District Mineral Fund, which will be exclusively used for the social and economic benefit of the people who are affected in that district. That means it is not to be submitted to the central government and for general use. It is specific, and it is a very important development in the National Mineral Policy that we have adopted, that you don't have to wait for the general fund to come to see that the social and economic benefits take place in any area where it has been severely affected by the mining activity. So here the PMKKY gives a provision that the fund comes from the mining itself, and a part of that comes for the social and economic development of the project affected people. So we have broadly we will definitely be guided by the constitutional provisions, including the fifth and sixth schedules, where we are supposed to safeguard the tribal rights and welfare. Now, there has to be comprehensive measures that has to be adopted to address the land acquisition and the displacement impacts, so that we can improve the living standards and provide the sustainable incomes to the tribal communities which are supposed to be affected, which are likely to be affected by the mining projects. During the mine closures, this will focus on restoring the ecology which is disturbed due to the mining activity. This will also regenerate the biodiversity that was affected. It is preferably not to disturb the biodiversity first thing. If for any reason it has to be done, then we have to regenerate the biodiversity, and we have to address the socio-economic impact, and we have to see that there is an orderly and systematic process to minimize this disruption, and we have to restore all these things which we have disturbed during the mining operations. So, for mine decommissioning and land reclamation, the financial provisions are to be made. There are specific provisions in the mine closure actions that has been closure rules that has been framed by the Government of India, and the mining companies are supposed to be following all these things, and so that during closure or before that, before the closure, the closure actions are to be a part of the mining operations, and when the mine is completed, mining operation is completed, then our closure actions is also completed. For that, the financial provision is already made, and the mining companies are supposed to follow the government rules in respect of these closure actions. Also, even though we are mostly talking about the mineral conservation and development, but we have to ensure that we adopt safer mining methods, not only advanced, must be safe, so that overall there has to be reduction in accidents. It has to minimize the occupational health risk, because mining is not only an unsafe, but there are many occupational diseases which are related to the mining operations. For that, as a part of the policy, the DGMS is supposed to be more reinforced and strengthened with adequate skilled manpower, equipment, so that they can effectively regulate and ensure the safety and health of the mine workers. As a part of the policy, again, the foreign trade and foreign investment is strongly encouraged through appropriate mechanism. So, this is to promote the export of value added minerals and align the domestic mineral industry with international economic trends. And the focus is that whole thing is to be very smooth and transparent and fast, expedite the entire process. Otherwise, the foreign direct investment cannot be encouraged. The long term import export policy is to be implemented. Why? Because we want to ensure the stability of mineral exports and coordinate imports. This is to streamline and stabilize the supply of mineral and its use in the countries. There are different fiscal aspects, but I am just trying to highlight one aspect that's very important. The policy said that all efforts shall be made to benchmark and harmonize the royalties, because see, when you are fixing the royalty percentage or what royalty is to be paid by the mining companies, all other taxes, direct like surface rent and the dead rent, these tax, all those corporate taxes, then we have to see that in what the mining companies are doing in other countries. Otherwise, what will happen? People will try to shift to attractive destinations. So, our royalties and taxes should be such, compared to to the other parts of the world, that we don't distract people. At least the India should be considered as an attractive destination for mining investment. So, we must make a benchmark and compare and harmonize the rates of royalties and other levies with the other countries of the world. The research and development part, lot of importance has been given in national mineral policy, that we must develop good mining methods for safety, more efficiency and better ore recovery, and we must emphasize like the areas, important areas of rock mechanics, ground control and mine design engineering. The Ministry of Mines is inviting, you will see in their website, that S&T projects proposals in these fields and other fields also, to do more research, and of course to also they are encouraging where the proof of concept is already there, can we come with a small startup proposals. So there, that also the Ministry of Mines and the Government of India is encouraging. So the innovations in the energy conservations, environmental protection and advanced technology, these things the government is continuously encouraging in this field, so that we have sustainable and the cost effective mining operations. As I have said earlier also, that in critical minerals also and energy critical minerals also, the government is giving very much importance, especially in the research and development. The mineral mining of mineral is followed by the mineral processing and beneficiation. So here we must be able to utilize the low grade minerals and do not throw them as waste. And the finer size material, wherever it is creating the difficulties in metallurgical process, then we should have technologies to how to utilize the fine size material for the purpose of further utilization. So the Indian Bureau of Mines, the private sector, public sector, they should the policy said that they should cooperate and they should develop the state of the art beneficent technology and process and establish the process in our country, so that we can utilize the low grade ore and the finer size material effectively. We do not want to waste anything. So this is also an implementation of the zero waste strategy that the government has adopted. So the efforts also will aim towards the maximizing the economic recovery of the associated minerals, that is, along with the principal value mineral, we also have associated minerals, that is for different uses also. So how to promote that? How to promote the advanced processing technology of this associated mineral. So again we are coming back to the zero waste, and we are not only targeting the value mineral, also how to utilize the associated minerals. Even I have seen that how the waste rocks that was taken out from a copper mine and that was lying for decades, that was fully utilized for road constructions. Now we have to think about the total utilization of the so called waste, and we must adopt the zero waste, so that everything has an economic value. It contributes to the economy of the business and the country as a whole. Automation, robotics. The government wants to give more attention, more investment in the development of robotics and automated equipment for the mining operations, where we are going deep mining. So to avoid the chances of accidents and working in adverse mining condition, can we use robotics, and also to transportation of the material to the surface. So appropriate import facilities also encouraged at this moment for quick development and implementation of the automation of the equipment, machinery and the mining robots. So we are of course we are doing a lot of things in our country already, but the policy says that if required, that apart from the indigenous development, we are giving full force on the indigenous development, but also the government encourages importing these technologies and utilizing in our country the state of the art the artificial intelligence or robotics in mining. As I said earlier also, that deep sea mining has got great prospects. Other than what we already know, we must know the resources in the deep sea beds. So the prospecting and exploration of that those resources, its extraction, mining and processing of these special types of resources, which are deep ocean resources. Government is giving a very importance and too much importance on these things, because this is giving an alternative, an additional resource on the in the known mineral resources. So this can in future, when the surface or the known resources are depleting, in future this will give us this stability of the supply of minerals. Also, the importance is being given on the production of materials of high purity, where these minerals are especially important for production of semiconductors, the solar cells, that means the photovoltaics, lasers, sensors, because these things are part of the most modern technology, thin films, superconductors, mineral fibers. So a special importance is being given for the production of all these minerals associated with these technologies. To understand the the need for the natural resources, including minerals, so we understand one thing, that this is basically a matter of shared inheritance. That means we are not only enjoying these things, we are creating a situation or developing these things to such extent that the future generation receive a benefit of this inheritance. That is why we are so much interested in stopping environmental degradation and develop a sustainable business, so that it continues, and the future generation must not say that our previous generations, they have spoiled the environment and they cannot do any more mining. So everything will be disrupted. So here the state governments are they will ensure, as per the policy, that the full value of the extracted mineral is received by the state, and the assessment of this intergenerational equity in respect of each mineral is that has to, this approach has to be adopted in such a way that the reserves or resources are not unnecessarily wasted and the potential is fully utilized, and so that you can continue from one generation to the other. And you must not think that the throw and use these things are to be discouraged, so that we improve our recycling, and more our recycling efficiency is very poor at the moment. The government is giving a lot of importance on the recycling, so that we conserve the minerals, and which is very much relevant in our in our context. For unified development, we expect that all the ministries, right from the Ministry of Mines to different different ministries, there will be interaction between the different ministries, so that this can ensure the sustainable mining, and we can address the environmental and socio-economic concerns more effectively than ever before. This interministerial mechanism will not only look into the technology and the process being adopted, but also we will also time to time discuss on the royalty rates, the mining limits, and they will also ensure that they will conduct detailed studies on the resource availability. That means more exploration and an information database, so that they will reduce environmental impact and ensure sustainable development, and from one generation to the another. This is overall the perspective. That means the sustainable development and the benefit from one generation, transferring from one generation to the next generation. Overall, what do we expect from this national mineral policy? That, as I said in the beginning, it strongly encourages Make in India. That means our own domestic resources must be encouraged for more and more production. So this will also help our manufacturing sector, because minerals, this is very much required, metals and other things for the manufacturing sectors. So, this will also, if you develop these things, this will also support the downstream industries. So, successful implementation of the policy depends on achieving a national consensus so that everybody believes in these things and adopts these things, and this will secure all the stakeholder commitment for the objectives for which this mineral policy has been framed. So, now the outcomes, there should be some quantitative terms. So, for example, the outcomes expected from this policy are an increase in the production of the MCDR minerals, that means the minerals that has been listed in the MCDR, in value terms by about 200% in next 7 years. Or on the other hand, it will reduce the trade deficit, the difference between the export and the import and the export deficit by 50% in 7 years. These are quantitative targets. Quantitative, that means whatever we have said so far, to increase the domestic production, reduce the import dependency, improve exports, all sustainable mining, and for the benefit of the society. But in terms, we have kept a short term target also, that in 7 years what do you see, and then keeping in this thing view the overall policy, can we achieve these things? This we have kept as a target. In 7 years, we will see that the production is increased by 200% and our trade deficit is reduced by 50%. As I said earlier, this is not an exhaustive discussion on the national mineral policy. The most important parts, paragraphs I have lifted from the national mineral policy is for your knowledge. From there you can have an idea that what is the philosophy behind this national policy, what are the broad objectives and why this has been framed. So, from here you will be having ideas about this policy. For detailed knowledge, you can go through the national mineral policy, and there are many discussion forums or all the websites where this has been reviewed and how this is changing over the years. Also, for previous references you can use this book also. So, with this we come to the end of the discussion on the National Mineral Policy 2019 part 1 and part 2, and which I think you must have enjoyed, and this is very informative and it is important in the context of the mineral economics and business as a whole. Thank you very much.